Who is Matthew Golden? Wide receiver out of Texas, he's a great X receiver who has elite speed, like on this play, where he's aligned in the slot and will work towards the boundary to challenge this outside corner, and his fellow receiver here will work inside to challenge this safety. Using his speed, he's able to run right by the corner who's matching the speed of the other receiver, and leaves him no hope to catch up and contest the catch in the end zone. Welcome back to the Franchise Tag Scouting Department. Today we are covering Matthew Golden for our final scouting report of the draft season. Like usual, we'll go over pros, then cons, then do some film analysis before we wrap up with his scouting report card. And timestamps for all of these sections will be in the description below. Starting with his pros, Matthew Golden has great hands, often reaching out of frame to complete catches, which he had to do a good amount thanks to Quinn Ewers being his quarterback. He also has a great contested catch rate, reeling in 67% of those catches in 2024. Despite primarily being a speedster, having a 4.29 40 time and a 5.11 frame, that great contested catch rate shows that he will still go up for 50-50 balls and will fight his way to secure the catch. I did quite like his route running, specifically his ability to manage his speed, shutting it down in a millisecond if he needed to run a deep hitch, and also the ability to turn it back on in an instant if running a double move. His whole game is based around his speed, and his routes benefit from that ability to throttle his speed, as he can win off the line against press thanks to that, and he can force DBs to play off coverage, which leaves those hitches wide open. At the top of his routes, he does a good job faking cuts and manipulating DBs to get separation, and after the catch, he has the speed to run away from defenders and turn a big play into a touchdown. As for his cons, Golden can sometimes run into traffic, affecting his momentum and at times taking him out of the play entirely. On quarterback scramble drills, I don't think he's the most quarterback friendly, and he doesn't work towards the quarterback to make himself an open target. Downfield, he can struggle to get separation against contact, getting caught up on a defender and losing the rep. In terms of yak, he doesn't have any go-to moves to make players miss, and relies on the speed to do the work for him in that regard. And in a sense, you could say that he relies too much on his speed and to be what separates him from the opponents. As I said, it's a foundational piece of his game, which is different from a receiver like Emeka Ibuka, who is technically sound. Golden has few technical question marks that he will mask using his speed. Getting into the film breakdown, once again starting with a play where he's aligned at the inside, and then he's motioning his way outside. And what's going to happen here is he's going to motion, then run up, and then make a hard cut on the inside. And the way he leaves his defender in the dust is impressive. Letting it play there, he really slow played it, and then he immediately cut upfield using that quick speed right around that cut there. When he stopped moving, in line and starts moving upfield, the speed shows, and it shows up quick, really utilizing his acceleration. Then, as he starts running here, he's kind of tempting the outside of this DB. He's making it look more like he was running a wheel route, when in actuality, as I'd said, he's going to make a cut inside. But look at the hips of the DB here. By leveraging his speed, showing that, hey, I'm fast and I'm going to run right past you way deep here, this DB has already turned his hips. He's turned his hips to cover him, to run downfield with him, and that's just what Matthew Golden wanted, as Matthew Golden will then make a hard plant step, and his DB is left, his hips are completely facing away from him now. He started facing this way to follow him upfield. Now it's facing backwards because he's got to turn himself around to be able to cover this. And for Matthew Golden, of course, he leveraged the hips of the DB well, as he literally took 2 steps and he's already about to be flying across the middle of the field here, wide open, makes an easy catch, turns upfield to get some extra yardage as well. Then getting into this next play, it's another simple route for Matthew Golden, running a straight line down the field. But what he's going to do is use that speed throttle I mentioned. He's going to leverage his speed, turning it on and off, and really make a big difference in this play because of that. Right here, he lifts his body up. He's keeping his eyes downfield because he wants to show that he's gonna be hitting his top speed right before he turns it down. He immediately hits a quick stutter step, which leaves this DB here, who was running downfield, because he saw him stand up upright. He's thinking, okay, I'm gonna go all the way downfield. And then that stutter step makes him question everything. It makes him completely stop his momentum downfield because he thinks he's breaking into a hitch route off of this go. So, Matthew Golden with that little stutter step implies a hitch here, makes this DB with all his momentum that was moving this way stop on a dime. And that allows Matthew Golden to make up the fact that he started this rep playing off coverage, and he's starting to really pass him here as he makes that stutter step. Now, there's great defense on this play. He's running, and while you could say, okay, from the quarterback's perspective, he's got a pocket that's collapsing. He's standing in the end zone. This would be a safety if he doesn't let that loose. So he could even put it way, way out ahead, probably off camera even, and try to take the top completely off of this defense. Or he can do what ends up happening, where he underthrows the ball because the defense currently is still over the top of Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden has the speed to beat them, I'm sure of it, but he puts it underneath. And so when the DBs are playing this deeper coverage, knowing it's Matthew Golden they're up against, they got to play deep. And then the ball is slightly underthrown. Matthew Golden is still able to work back towards that. Now, from this other angle, we're not going to see much of that route running. We do see the catch here. So we see him recognize the ball in the air. Notice, hey, it's not going where I'm going. I got to slow down. I got to stop to catch this. And he does. And he works back to the ball, reaches out, catches it with his hands, takes it to the ground. Wrapping up this video with his scouting report card, Matthew Golden gets a B+. I grade him as a first rounder. His speed and his hands are fantastic, and he gets an A in the hands department for that. Contested catches, despite his great contested catch rate, his sample size is a bit small compared to others in the class, so I opted out of the A range here, landing on a B+. Now, for his run blocking, I said he fails to contribute much there, so it's a C. It isn't a liability, but it isn't a plus either. Due to his reliance on speed and not actual evasive moves, I gave his yak score a B, and for his routes, he gets a B+. With that, speed throttle really helping his routes and the way he gets open on those routes. With all of that said, he's certainly one of my favorite wide receivers of this class, and I think that he does have a good chance at being a great pro in the NFL, but I would like to see some more technical ability, but with the physical nature of his game, he gets those contested catches and he has the speed to compete at the next level. He's not running a 4.6 or a 4.5. He is running a 4.29. He is a fast player and he has great hands, and so it's hard to not really be vying for a player who is a wide receiver, great hands, and the speed to get open and make these big plays. That'll wrap up this scouting report. If you enjoyed, hit like, subscribe. We still have some content coming post-draft, some reactions to teams, some, breakdowns on certain scheme fits that we see for these players going into their new teams, and other content that is just a little bit, out of the draft conversation, but still got more content coming along with our podcast that starts in season. If you enjoyed, hit like, subscribe, and thank you for watching.